Hey sports fans, I don't want to mince words. You saw the title of this video. Today we're going to talk about my top reads of 2025. I read about 30 books in 2025, which is kind of a lot for me. My goal is usually 24 because I think that 2 books a month is a pretty good average for me personally. It's kind of exciting to overshoot my goal. I had a really hard time picking just 5 books as my favorites. I do have 2 honorable mentions, the first of which is The Metamorphosis by Franz Kafka. I threw this in here because it was just such a delightful surprise. It wasn't at all what I expected it to be, but I did really, really enjoy it. The Metamorphosis is about a young man named Gregor living in early 1900s Germany who wakes up one morning and is an enormous bug. He is a man-sized beetle of some type. It's never directly stated what kind of bug he is, but he is a bug. This book is more of like a character study of this family during a very, very strange event in their lives. It's not like funny haha, but it is funny. There are parts that you picture, and the mental picture is just so absurd that you can't help but laugh. There are parts where I did like laugh out loud, even though what's happening is actually quite depressing. I don't really know how to describe this book to people other than to tell them to read it because it's very short, but it's quite good. My second honorable mention goes to Piranesi by Susanna Clarke. This again was just a delightful surprise. I don't typically read speculative fiction, so I didn't know what I was getting into. I had no idea what to expect, except that a lot of people said they really liked it. A lot of people say that the reveal in this book will either make or break it for you. I don't really think that that's true. I think that if you're enjoying the story, that the reveal is just a part of the story. It didn't make it better or ruin it for me. It just added a new interesting element. Piranesi is about a man of unknown age, unknown origin, who lives in what he calls a house that is truly massive. In the lower floors of this house is the ocean. There are tides that come in and go out. There can be storms within this house. It has many, many rooms. The rooms are quite strange. They have statues and skeletons and birds and seaweed. It's very, very strange. It's like the house exists in a beach, but also the beach exists in the house. Piranesi is not necessarily an unreliable narrator, but he seems like maybe he doesn't fully grasp what's going on around him. We go on a journey with him where he explores this house and his own history and potentially more of what this place really is. I don't want to say more than that because I feel like you have to just kind of experience it. I thought that this was really good and I did really enjoy it, but it wasn't one of my favorite reads of the year, which is why it's only in my honorable mention. Next up are my 5 favorite books of the year. These are in no particular order because I could not be bothered to categorize them. And I feel like I have to be very transparent. These are picked solely on vibes. This is just how I feel. These are the books that I enjoyed. I'm not going to like break out a chart and give points to categories or whatever. There's no numerical value assigned to how much I enjoyed these books. They are just the ones that I think I enjoyed the most. In no particular order, first up is Fury of the Gods by John Gwynne. I don't think this surprises anybody. I love John Gwynne. I love this series. It's amazing. Fury of the Gods is the 3rd and final installment of the Bloodsworn saga. In this installment, everything comes to a head. All of these blood oaths and vendettas and like vengeance is coming to fruition. It is so intense. There's so many clashes. The action is written phenomenally. We get to see like the journeys come to a close of these characters that we've fallen in love with and some of these characters that we truly hate and we need to see punished. You get everything that you want in this book, and the conclusion is very sweet. It's also very bitter in some ways. I think that this was a fantastic conclusion to an amazing series. I love the Bloodsworn saga. I love John Gwynne, and I cannot recommend him enough. If you like high fantasy, and especially if you like a sort of Scandinavian or Viking setting, this is for you. It's so much fun, and it's written so beautifully. The characters are They have so much depth. They're so rich. Everything is like you could reach out and grab it. It's just wonderful. I love this series so much, which is why this is one of the best books that I read this year. Next up, not surprising, one of the best books that I read this year was Malice, and I'm going to include Valor with Malice because I read them back to back. This is the first installment of the Faithful and the Fallen series by John Gwynne. I think that if you like books that kind of take a long time to introduce you to the world, then you'll enjoy this. I think that this is kind of similar to Assassin's Apprentice, not in story, style, writing, prose, nothing like that is similar. It's similar in that Assassin's Apprentice is just introducing you to the world and the characters. And there is like a little bit that happens, but it feels like not a lot actually happens. This is like a 628 page introduction to this world. There is a lot that happens, but it all feels very introductory. And then when you get to Valor, that's where events really start to happen at like breakneck speed. This still has a lot going on. It still has like action sequences and it still has some intrigue and major events are happening, but it also feels like an introduction. It feels like you're getting to know this world. Maybe you just woke up in this place today and you're getting to know it. So this is like your first month in a whole new world. I love it so much. I love John Gwynne. I hope that he never stops writing because I love his writing. I think that he writes characters in a way that makes even the worst people a joy to read. I don't know how else to describe it. It's just like you love reading it, even if you hate the character. But the characters that you love so much. There are a couple of characters in here who are maybe on like the wrong side of history, if that makes sense, but you root for them. You want them to like see the error of their ways. The heroes are just so precious. We love them so much. I love every single character. I love John Gwynne. I love his writing. If you want just a long, rich, detailed world, this is for you. If you like sword and sorcery, this is for you. Up next, I'm not very surprising with the books that I loved this year. The Will of the Many by James Islington. I don't know what to say about this that hasn't been said. It's wonderful. This book is like a love affair between the Lycanius trilogy and Red Rising and the Hunger Games. It's so good. It has some of the YA tropes that we all know and love from like our childhood of reading, but it also has so much more. It has so much depth and richness. I love the way that James Islington writes mystery, where he's giving you all these bits and pieces that don't really seem interconnected at first. And then the more that you get into it, the more you're like, this is connected. These things go together. Like, I didn't think this mattered, but it does matter. There is an interaction where a person says one thing to another person one time, and it has been in my head for probably like 700 pages because I've started the next book and I'm waiting. I am waiting for the other shoe to drop where what this person said has like actual effects or consequences. And I know that it will because everything that James Islington does is so intentional. Everything that he puts in this book is here for a reason. Nothing feels like it's there just to entertain. It all feels very intentional, even if you don't realize how intentional it is when it's happening. When it comes to fruition, you're like, oh, that actually mattered. It wasn't just like a throwaway line. It was meaningful. This book has been everywhere. I probably don't really need to tell you about it, but it had to be in my top 5. I loved it so much. Next up in my top books of 2025 is Ship of Magic by Robin Hobb. This is the first book in the Live Ship Traders trilogy and the 4th book in the Realm of the Elderlings universe. Ship of Magic is so difficult to describe. If you wanted to imagine seafaring traders in the most fantastical possible way, it would be Ship of Magic. So in this world, there's something called wizard wood. And when a ship is made out of wizard wood, there is like a process and a contract where after several generations of sailors from the same family have died on the ship will quicken and come to life. It is a literal living being, but it is also a physical ship that can still be sailed. The ship also has like a deep connection to the family. It has some of the memories of each captain who has sailed the ship. We enter into this world in this story when the patriarch of the Vestrit family is passing away, and his daughter Althea, who has sailed with him for years and years and years, thinks that the ship is going to be left to her because it was promised to her. She is a sailor. She wants to captain this ship. She's good at it. It's all she really knows. It's all she really loves. And she already has a very deep connection with the ship. And shockingly, it is not given to her. This is the catalyst for some truly like insane storytelling. Althea goes on her own crazy, wild coming of age journey. And then this man, Kyle, who is married into her family, goes on his own kind of villain origin story. And then Kyle's son, Wintro, is forced to work on this ship when all he wants to do is be a monk. He goes on his own journey. And then there's their family who is left back at home on the land, and they're going through a journey. And then we have a bigger overarching story of the Rain Wilds and the other people who live in like this township who do all this trade. There are sea monsters. There's some sort of crazy mystery with the sea monsters and what they're doing because the sea monsters have a whole other journey that they're on. It is insane. It's such a wild ride. I feel like only Robin Hobb could write this story and write it the way that she does. It's so good. It captures your imagination. It really draws you in. The characters that are malicious are so incredibly hateable. And everybody else is kind of like varying shades of gray. Even some of the characters who seem very innocent and likable still have gray shades to them. I think that that's something that Robin Hobb does really well, where she writes these characters that are very human. They're not perfect. Nobody is just good, right? And nobody is just evil either. Everybody is varying shades of gray. I think that she does that beautifully, and it's very believable. Nothing feels cartoonish or over the top. It makes it just a joy to read, which is why this is one of my favorite books of the year. Last on my list, but certainly not last in our hearts, is Blood Over Brighthaven by M.L. Wang. This book came out of left field, socked me in the face. I can't believe how good it was. It was shockingly good. I've talked about this book in a couple other videos. I'm sure people are tired of hearing me talk about the same books, but listen, you love what you love. So very briefly, this book is about a young woman named Siona. She lives in a city that is kind of barricaded off from the rest of the world called Tehran. The city is barricaded by magic to protect itself and its inhabitants from something called the Blight, which is a very destructive force. Nobody understands where it came from. All we know is that it is destructive, it's harmful, and you're only safe in the city. Siona wants nothing more than to become a high mage. She goes through tons of trials. She works so hard. She's very single-minded to get to her goal of being a high mage. She is kind of by chance forced together with a young man named Talmil, who is from outside of Tehran. He is a nomad from outside Tehran, and his family tried to come into the city to escape the Blight because it's very harmful, like I said. There's so much more to the story. I don't want to spoil it if you haven't read it, but it is just a beautiful story. There's so many layers to what's happening in this world. This book has a lot to say about like feminism and women's place in the world, and also like native peoples and industrialization. There's so much happening in here. It doesn't ever feel heavy-handed. It doesn't ever feel like it's being shoved down your throat. It feels very organic. The way that this society is written makes everything feel much more organic and less cartoonish. which I think is a testament to the writing because these are very difficult topics to make palatable for people. It's just written very, very well. This is an excellent book. It's such an engaging story. Even if you don't care about like the politics or the cultural importance of what's happening, the story itself is so engaging. All right, guys, that is it for my 5 favorite books of 2025. I hope you guys liked hanging out and chatting about these with me. If you've read them, please let me know what you thought about these books.